Welcome to class. And this is day 4 of this challenge, and I want to believe that it has been full of insight all along. So please, if you have not given back to this channel by liking this video, subscribing, and also turning on the notification bell, please do so right now. And you need to ensure that the notification bell is turned on so that you'll be among the first set of people to get notified as soon as we release insightful content, just like the one that you're about to. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in class.
All right, welcome once again. So in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at referencing as far as Excel is concerned. And generally, we have 3 kinds of referencing. We have the relative referencing, we have the absolute referencing, and we have the mixed referencing. I want to believe that a large number of us, we've used at one point or the other, we've used referencing before, but we just we can't really place what we were doing then. So in this class, I want you to be rest assured that everything that has to do with referencing, you will have a full understanding of what it's all about. So let's just dive into it once and for all. So now, this is a sales data, and we have different categories of ergonomics. So we have chairs, we have desk, and what have you. And for this column, we can see that we have units sold per category. So, and then we have the unit price per category. So now if I need to calculate the total sales, for example, I want to find out how much we actually generated from all of these sales. So all I need to do is calculate the total sales for each of the categories, then I'll sum. So simply put, all I need to do is just to, the last time we said each time we are trying to make use of a formula in Excel, you have to commence with equal sign. So we have equal sign, so I need to multiply this then with the price. So once I do that, then I have my result. Of course, you observe that I did not actually type those figures. I simply referenced it, and that was deliberate. Now, that being done, the next thing I want to do now is I need to now replicate what I've done here. You can see the formula here, B2 multiplied by C2. And in one of the classes, we mentioned that the way these cells were, the way they are being referenced is actually determined by the column number and also the row number. Now, for this, once if you look at the formula that we have in here, we have B2, which is this particular cell. So column B, then row 2, multiplied by C2, column C, then row 2. So we arrive at this. So if I need to get the same result for the next row, all I need to do is the same way, we need to do column B3 multiplied by column C3. However, I don't need to start doing them one after the other, because if I have data set that has about 100,000 of row or thereabouts, obviously you'll agree with me, but it seems like mission impossible to be doing one after. So what do I do? Then I'll make use of what we call relative referencing. So once I've done for one, then I will just prompt the software to replicate the same formula relatively to the previous one I've done, then replicate for the other cells and the entire column as a whole. So how do I go about that? You just bring your cursor to the edge, that's the extreme of just the edge of this particular cell that we have. So until you have this cross icon, so once you have this, it's that you just left click and drag down, or you just simply double click. So once you double click, simply put, you are trying to autofill. So what we have done now, if I click on this, you can see that now we have B3 multiplied by C3. Then if I go to the next one, we have B4 multiplied by C4. But then I only did for one, and the other ones, they took shape. So what we have just done is what we call relative referencing. So relatively to the first one we did, we were able to calculate the other one. So away from relative referencing, I'll go to absolute referencing. So what does it mean for absolute referencing? For example, we have different categories, and we have units sold and the price. So take for example, maybe the management have decided to just roll out incentive and perhaps just add 5,000 to each of the sales from these categories. So let's say for example, this appears to be like sales from a particular branch, and from the top they decided to roll out like incentive to all the branches by maybe adding 5,000 to whatever they have sold over a period of time. So if you want to do that, of course, let me just put 5,000 somewhere around here. and my aim is just to add 5,000 to each of these results we have here. Now see what will happen. If I decide to go this way, equals, then I will do this multiple, plus 5,000. So then I have that result. Now, if I decide to now drag this down the same way we did this, that's relative referencing. So if I decide to just autofill it down, you'll observe that for the first one, 500 was actually, or 5,000 was actually added to this result. However, for the next one, 5,000, was not added. So we have the same result that we have for the other one. So why is that? It's because for this, what we have just done is still relative referencing. So since all the other cells that we have, they are blank, so Excel automatically believes that those cells actually contain zeros, and that's why if you click on this, you will see D3 plus F3. If you click on this, you see D4 plus F4, because it's still relative referencing. Now, in this kind of a case, how do we navigate this? Then the knowledge and the concept of absolute referencing should actually come to mind. So how do we navigate that? So when exactly do we use absolute referencing? It's very simple. Each time you have to make reference to a particular entry over and over again. For example, this is same 5,000. We use this same 5,000 to arrive at this result by adding 5,000 to this. So if I need to keep adding the same figure to all the other entries, then I need to reference that particular cell. Absolutely. So we are saying that for each of the calculation that I want to do, I want to go back and make reference. Another way we can use this, which I do oftentimes, is, let's say for example, maybe I want to try and do some sum if, or I want to use the if statement, that's a conditional statement, and I need to make reference to a particular entry over and over again. Then the concept of absolute reference must come to mind. And for some people, they call it, you lock the cell, locking of cell. So I can lock that cell such that I'll always go back there and make reference to it. So how do I get about it? So for this first one, once I click on, I want to do this plus 5,000, and I want the other ones to keep adding 5,000 to each of the entries. So I need to log this 5,000. So all I need to do is, on my keyboard, I'll just press F4. And if, because of the own keyboard configuration, if F4 seems not working, because once you lock a cell, anytime you see $ in between, maybe before the letter and also before the number, then you should know that that cell has actually been referenced absolutely. So if F4 seems not to work on your own keyboard because of the configuration, you can simply use $ before the letter, then $ before the number, and then click enter. So once I do this, I can then now reference it relatively. So whatever I do for the first one, the other ones will also be replicated accordingly. So I'll just click down. Now what we have just done is what we call mixed referencing, because we've been able to use both absolute referencing and also the relative referencing. And if you look at this, you can see that we have D3 plus F2. Then the next one we have D4 plus F2. So for each of the entries, they will always go back and pick their reference from this F2, and that will actually make the work easier. That's right about all for this particular class, and I believe that you have learned something. It is one step at a time. If you are adding to whatever you have learned on a daily basis, I want to tell you that at the end of the 30 days, you would have actually gained ample knowledge. So that'll be all for now, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.